this poem. This poem was partially inspired by a friend of mine in grad school, Cindy Goff, who Renegade knows. She called herself an Appalachian surrealist, and loved her work. It was so strange. She has a book you can find on Amazon, I think, but she had a poem about if men really did like women for their brains, that women in America would start getting head enlargements and then wear really tight hats. And so I kind of did a variation of that idea. In the lost and found of my heart, I always find you attractive in an edge of the cliff sort of way. Still you speak of getting your lips pumped up with collagen, as if they're tires low on air. But when God was doling out spoonfuls of beauty, you got more than your share. Blessed with an ass that makes old men yell out, bingo, in the supermarket. Calves that leave marathon runners hunched over and gasping for air. Your nipples poking from your blouse like the tips of an iceberg that could sink me. I have to confess my salacious little Einstein. Sometimes when your head's turned, I sneak a peek into your ear, hoping to snag a glimpse of your medulla oblongata. Let me fondle your hypothalamus until it gets wet with thirst. Skinny dip in your subconscious. Slow dance with the tornado ripping apart your psyche. And wiggle my tongue inside the hole where the therapist poured the crazy glue to put your mind back together. Show me where you keep a man's breath after taking it away. Do you stuff it under your mattress or in the lingerie drawer like the wild cousin of potpourri? I'm sick of making lust with homonyms of you. Let me suckle your cerebellum. I'll massage your gray matter till it glows in the dark. I'll perform brainalingus until you have acid flashbacks. Don't worry, I won't solve you and leave you or brag to the locker room scholars about how juicy that vein in your forehead gets when you multiply big numbers. I don't just want you for your quadratic equations. I'll subtract the square root of your bosom from the radius of our embrace and conjugate your lullaby button into every verb tense known to humankind. We were talking at dinner about all the people that have been in Writers' Corps with us, and Jose Padua and Solana were never in Writers' Corps, but they feel like honorary members. But I mean, it was just such an amazing job that we had. Joe Ray, Van Jordan, Gary Lilly, Amani Tolliver, Holly Bass, all these kids, Chris Llewellyn. I know Ta-Nehisi and Jelani Cobb were like two of the biggest writers, like in the New York Times. I mean, it's an amazing group. Kenny Carroll, Brian Gilmore. Who am I forgetting? Yona Harvey. John Maria. Yeah, the names just keep coming and coming. I mean, it was an amazing group. It was so much fun. I was coming from my master's program at George Mason, which was a good experience, but it was 1993. Some of it we were getting theoretical in some ways, and this just was a total change of pace. It was such a blessing and such a great part of my life. This poem is called 1975. A boy asks his father to spiral a football over a tree, to arc it so that the ball will arrive an instant before the child. Child dives, tendons extended, heart bucking, hands opening jaw-like to clutch what descends from the sky. Your mother left today for the mental institution. If the ball hits ground, she dies. That December afternoon, the boy's mother passed away 33 times in the first hour. Each time he grabbed her head from the snow and ran it back to his father, promised to do better. And he did. He ran hard, focused, dove. He caught his mother's skull 13 times in a row. And she's still not coming home. This poem kind of feels like a companion in some weird way to that other poem, both dealing with the age of like 8 years old or something like that. And in this book, I started experimenting with kind of faux confessional poems. Hal Sirowitz would be someone who's very comedic, who had poems that seemed to be playfully confessional or something, like comedically confessional. I don't know if they were influences or not, but this is called Where Babies Come From. Again, I'm from Philadelphia originally, where things were a little bit different. For my 8th birthday, I got a toy train set that my father helped assemble. My job was to hand him pieces of track and relight the cigarettes that went out in his mouth. Halfway through, I asked him where babies come from. He told me that 8 years ago today, I showed up at the front door in a cardboard box. How he spent the whole afternoon putting me together, just like this train set. That I was probably lucky the box arrived on a Saturday. Then he pulled out a receipt from Kmart and said, "Son, this is your birth certificate." This poem's got a title, Zugzwang. Is that how you pronounce it, Zugzwang? It's a chess term. I guess it's a German term, but in chess, you could be trapped in Zugzwang and you can't escape. No matter where it's your move and you have to move, and no matter where you move, it's going to be bad for you. So you've kind of run out of options, so you'd be better just staying still. And so maybe it's a metaphor for paralysis. I don't know if you have everybody probably has somebody in there that they love who's depressed in a paralyzed state of some sort, emotionally or psychologically. And maybe that was what was informing this. You are a locked car door closing. You are the key forgotten in the ignition. I am the person banging on the window. I am the fog in the glass. You are a wild dog limping up a highway embankment. You are a cactus with human fingertips. You are a tall tree with a scarf wrapped around one of the branches. You are a scuba diver looking down at his watch and realizing you don't have enough air to make it back to the surface. So you live down there with the spare tires and the other things we do without. You are the Loch Ness Monster. It's been so long since you surfaced, no one believes you exist anymore. You are a submarine that has lost its power. You watch television through a periscope. You are a permanent bathrobe. You are a cow poking her head through a barbed wire fence. You are a gambler an hour before squandering the rent. You are going over Niagara Falls in a giant pill bottle. You have a bruised throttle. You are a road trip that's gone awry. You are a bird that stands on a railing rubbing your wings together, then you climb back down and you call that a try. You are a piece of chewing gum stuck on the back of a mirror. You are a bag of melted ice on a ballerina's ankle. You are a camel with a straw sticking out of your hump. In your mind, you climb onto the ledge and you jump, you jump, you jump.